I like to start people's origin stories because we just met, so I don't know anything about you really. But tell me about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
Um, so I was born in Seattle, Washington. Um, my mom and dad had me and my brother. I have one full brother and two half siblings, but they got divorced when I was 5. And then my mom got remarried to like this skinhead meth cook. So we moved out to like the middle of nowhere in Monroe, basically. My dad saw us like every other weekend, and me and my brother lived with her and my stepdad. And when I was like 6, I'd say, he started making me do like child pornography and stuff. Like, there was a lot. Our house was like a really big meeting spot for like skinheads and bikers, and there was a meth lab and stuff in the back, so it was a lot of like just really meth and sexual stuff and bikers, and me and my cousins were all like basically forced to do like child pornography, and they'd sell us, not sell us, but like prostitution, but with like little kids. And my mom didn't know about it for a while because she got pregnant. My stepdad got her pregnant, and she had twins. And when she had postpartum depression, like after you have a baby, she wouldn't get out of bed for like weeks at a time. So once she found out, she actually killed herself. She jumped in front of a train, and that was 3 years later.
So you're like 9, 10 years old?
Almost. I was turning 10, yeah. So 9. And then me and my brother ended up back with my dad, and he didn't really know what to do. I think like having 2 kids just like dropped on him full time.
Was he aware of like what was happening?
Not when it was happening. I didn't tell him until I was like probably 14 or 15, but I was like a really small, like frail, like sickly kid kind of because of all of it. Like everything just made me really nervous, and people made me really scared. And he didn't really understand why, and I don't think he knew like what to do with me exactly. He kicked me out when I was like 13 because I started shooting up heroin when I was like 12 and a half. I never really like had a good relationship with him at all, but it was still kind of hard to be like thrown out by the only loving parent that you've ever had.
That's all you knew.
Yeah.
He was the only person.
Yeah.
And he kicked you out.
I mean, I was like a really shitty kid, like stealing and doing drugs, but
Can I reframe that a little bit and just say, my guess is you were an incredibly traumatized, hurting child.
Yeah.
Acting out in these ways because of your trauma. Major, severe trauma.
I just didn't want to like feel the feelings that I was having.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know, and I still don't really know any other way to like cope with stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I was just talking to you a few minutes ago, we all cope in different ways.
Yeah.
Legal and illegal drugs, or food, or video games, or sex, or you name it.
Yeah.
Well, when you were thrown out at 12 or 13?
13.
Where did you go?
I came out to Kirkland. I knew I developed like very, very young. So when I was 12, I was like fully developed. So I was doing like very adult things at a very young age. So I was kind of just like I always had a place to stay, but it was always with like a strange man usually that I didn't know. And that went on until I turned like 16 and I got pregnant. I started dating this guy and I got pregnant, and he's in prison right now, and I ended up getting an abortion, but I lived with his parents until I turned 18.
Okay. And was school in there at all?
So growing up, when I was little, I didn't go to school because I was like, my mom and my stepdad had like, you can be like homeschooled technically, so I was being homeschooled, and I got expelled from middle school, so I didn't go to elementary school. I did for like maybe 6 months when I was like 9 or 10 when I first went back with my dad, but I wasn't like a normal kid.
Yeah.
It wasn't working, so my dad ended up doing the same thing, kind of like saying that I was being homeschooled.
Yeah.
I did start middle school though, but I got expelled for doing drugs and selling drugs. So I stopped going to school. I don't have my GED. I don't have anything like that.
I'm curious too, like, did you tell anybody about what was happening?
I was like super embarrassed about it. Like, I knew that it was wrong and not normal, but I didn't know like that it was like that bad, I guess. Like bad enough to where, how would I say this? Bad enough to where I shouldn't be embarrassed about it because it's that unusual, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't know that didn't happen to everybody.
Yeah, because I don't want to say, would you say something like, yeah, I guess you put it in a way, I didn't know this didn't happen to everybody. You thought it might be going on, so you kind of rationalize it in your little mind as a child, and you just kept it, held on to that. Yeah.
I told my dad, I was like, 15 or 16, I think, is when I told my dad.
How did he respond?
At first, I don't think he believed me because it sounds really absurd. But after like a while, he started like putting all the pieces together, like why I was the way I was, and I think it kind of made sense to him.
Yeah.
And my stepdad he's in prison still for the same thing, but with like other kids.
Right.
I think.
So there was other children involved.
Yeah. And I think once that happened, he finally like was like, okay, she's not lying.
Yeah. That is very heavy. As a dad of 2 little girls, like, incredibly heavy. So you're 18, you were living with your boyfriend's parents.
Yeah.
And then where do you go?
I wanted to try and like sort of have like somewhat of a normal life, so I got on methadone.
Because all this time you're coping.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
I this entire time I'm shooting up goofballs in my neck.
Yeah, just not to feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of didn't say anything about that. I started shooting up. When I started using, I started shooting up. I never like. Usually people start like drinking and smoking and stuff. I just went straight to like hardcore, like doing heroin. Cause
you said 12?
Yeah. There were just like all these like really horrific things that I didn't want to have to like think or feel about. So I didn't.
Yeah.
I still haven't.
I mean, there's this piece where I'm like, that makes sense. like you went through this crazy, insane, traumatic events, like plural, and you found something that gave you some reprise from that. You know, of course, it's like there's consequences and stuff. But it's
like throughout that whole time, obviously being like a young woman on the streets, I've been like raped and beat up and stuff multiple times. But it sort of like comes with the territory, I guess. I moved to, so I was 18, living with my boyfriend's parents in like Edmonds, in a really like rich, nice neighborhood. And I came and moved in to an RV with, he's dead now, but one of my ex-boyfriends, his name's Thaddeus. I was with him for 4 years, and someone actually gave him a hot shot and killed him. But I have a daughter also. Her name's Emma Lila. She turns 2 on the 25th of this month. Yeah. There's like a lot of really big pieces in here missing, I feel like.
Of course. I mean, telling your whole life story in like
it's hard.
Squished in amount of time.
It's hard.
There's gonna be stuff missing, and there's,
I ended up having a baby with this guy named Zach.
Okay.
We used to use together, and it just kind of like happened. I have like a lot of scar tissue in my uterus from like just being raped as a very small child. So I wasn't ever supposed to be able to even like have kids at all. So when I found out I was pregnant after the first time, being like 16, I had her when I was 26 and I'm 28. So I had her 2 years ago. I felt like it might have happened, like, this is really selfish and fucked up, but maybe it happened for like a reason, and I kind of was trying to like rationalize in my head, like, maybe if I have a baby, I'll be able to get my shit together. And that's definitely not what happened. CPS ended up taking her away. I see her twice a week still. Her dad's sober, and he's pretty close to getting custody back of her, but I think she should stay with her foster parents.
Yeah, she's with foster parents.
Yeah, and they're super awesome. Yeah. I'm really grateful for them and everything that they've done.
What's on your mind?
She gets so happy every time I walk in the room.
I bet.
Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing out here? The person I'm with right now isn't the best in the world either.
Well, what is it that you would want?
I want to be able to have like a normal life, whatever that means. But I don't want to have to feel all this shitty stuff. And I don't know how to not do that on my own. And I always end up with like these abusive jackass pieces of shit because I punish myself, I guess, for being like a shitty mom. Like, I don't feel like I deserve better than this, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're stuck. But there's this piece of you as a mom that knows this is what I desire. Yeah, you don't know how to get to there. And it's, I mean, I'm a huge fan of therapy and support, and it takes, I mean, a lot of fucking work to work through your trauma. But people have done it, and it's hard, and it's painful, and you gotta feel that. But it's like, yeah, can't do it on our own. That's for sure. That is for sure.
At this point, I almost feel like it would be like selfish for me to try and raise her, because I don't think I'm like necessarily like mentally capable of doing that. Like I can't even take care of myself. Like I don't want to not be in her life, but
Yeah.
I just think it would be really fucked up if I was to take her from where she is now. I want her to have like a normal, happy childhood. I can't provide that, and I know that I can't.
Maybe not right now, but you got time. You know, you got time. And that's the kind of like piece that we could all hold on to go like, I mean, it's hard, it's tough, it's complicated, and you know, it's your story and you're still writing it. You're in the middle of it, right? It's not over. Well, tell me about your current situation. Like, where are you at now?
I live with my boyfriend everywhere around here, or down in Soto. We'll stay in Soto a lot. Right now, I'm on methadone, and I shoot up fentanyl, heroin, and meth in my jugular. I've been doing that for like, oh God, 5 years now probably. Just kind of taking things one day at a time at this point. I see my daughter twice a week.
Yeah. What's her name?
Emma Lila.
Sorry, you said Emma. Emma
Yeah.
Lila.
Yeah.
I love that name, Emma Lila.
Yeah, she's sweet. She has cerebral palsy, like really like mild cerebral palsy. So she has like this little thing called the gait trainer. It's adorable. Like when she runs, she's
really tiny.
Yeah, she was born 3 months early too, so she's very, very small, but she's really happy.
Yeah, there's like, I all parents, you know, we think about our kids and it's just like brightness, right? It's just beauty and brightness and light, and they're incredible. When do you see her next?
Tomorrow.
Oh, that's good.
I have court tomorrow too, though.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a little bit late, but
Yeah.
even if I show up late, I always go.
Yeah.
I think I at least owe her that.
Yeah, I mean, our kids can be a huge motivator, but I'm curious, you said, I thought when I had her, you would shift and change, and was there any part that kind of...
When I found out I was pregnant, I tried to stop using, like, I did everything that I thought that I went up on my dose on methadone. I stopped talking to my friends. I stopped going out. But when you're pregnant, like, your hormones and your emotions are so much stronger than they are normally, and all the things that I don't want to feel right now were like just magnetized by 1,000. And it actually made my drug use a lot worse when I was pregnant.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show it's like not just about stopping, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's this other piece of...
You have to get to like the root of the problem.
Yeah, now therapy and support groups and like books and podcasts, and like that's all the energy and work that is hard and painful.
Yeah.
But worth it.
I'm like required to do like UAs and stuff like that for CPS, but I haven't been doing it because, I mean, they're all gonna be negative, and that's just gonna go. It's kind of a weird situation. She has like a social worker through CPS that we have to like. Me and her dad have to go to court a couple times a month to like see where we're at and stuff, and I'm like 2 court dates away, I think, from them terminating my rights.
It sounds really scary.
They like make me look out to like be like the biggest piece of shit. And like I'm trying as hard as I can, you know? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone around me that's like positive at all to even make me feel like I want to do anything like good, you know? Like, I get high with my fucking boyfriend all day and steal shit from people, and it's so fucked up. It's fucked up.
Yeah, that's not you. It's not what you want, right?
I never thought my life would be like this, ever.
And a question I like to ask is there anything that you want people in Seattle to know?
Not everyone that's homeless or on drugs. We're not all giant pieces of shit. A lot of us are just fucking really struggling inside. And don't have anyone there to support us through anything. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people out here that are really fucking shitty, but none of us want to be like this. I can guarantee you that. No one wants to live like this.
It's good to hear your voice. Thanks for sharing part of your story. You open for a hug? It's like you might need one. I'm so sorry. It's okay. I'm sorry. Fuck. You gotta fight for this girl.